Good morning. I'm Marge, a Unity in Lynnwood prayer chaplain, and I'm happy to welcome all of you this morning for our time of silent meditation, whether you're here in our chancel or in our virtual online community. We cherish this sacred time on Sunday morning as we come together to share the powerful frequency of meditation. I invite you to settle with comfort into your chairs or wherever you're sitting. Take several deep breaths and let them out with a sigh. Drop your breath down into your heart and slow your breathing. Just rest. Rest and let your heart fill with quiet joy. There is nothing you have to do right now, nothing you have to plan or be responsible for in these next few sacred minutes. This is your time of nourishment, your time to become refreshed. Let Spirit nurture you as you go into the silence. gently bring yourselves back into this physical space. Breathe deeply as you gently open your outer eyes. Embrace the knowing that you are on the path of light even when you cannot see the way. Trust that God is opening the way before you and bathing you in light. Please join me as we bless Dr. Richard, Reverend Nina, and Matthew, and the richness they bring to this service. And we bless the many people who contribute to the creation of this time together. And we carry that blessing to ourselves, whether here in our chancel or in our virtual congregation. And so it is.
let it go, my love, my truest, let it sail on silver wings. Life's a twinkling, that's for certain, but it's such a fine thing. There's a gathering of spirits, there's a festival of friends, and we'll take up where we left off when we all meet again. I can't explain it, I couldn't if I tried, how the only things we carry are the things we hold inside, like a day in the open, like the love we won't forget, like the laughter that we started and it hasn't died down yet. Oh, let it go, my love, my truest, let it sail on silver wings. Life's a twinkling, that's for certain, but it's such a fine thing. There's a gathering of spirits, there's a festival of friends, and we'll take up where we left off when we all meet again. Oh yeah, now didn't we? And don't we make it shine? Aren't we standing in the center of something rare and fine, some glow like embers, like a light through colored glass. Some give it all in one great flame, throwing kisses as they pass. Oh, let it go, my love, my truest, let it sail on silver wings. Life's a twinkling, that's for certain, but it's such a fine thing. There's a gathering of spirits, there's a festival of friends, and we'll take up where we left off when we all meet again.
Please join me now for a few moments to ground and center ourselves together. Let's shift our attention from the world outside of us to the place inside of us that endures, that is eternal. As you breathe deeply a few times, drawing the breath of spirit, relax whatever tension is in the way. With each out-breath, release a bit more tension from arms, legs, face, shoulders. Become present to the richness of this moment. As I release, I relax. I make myself available. Rest for a moment in your place of peace. And as you continue to breathe easily, deeply, allow your favorite thought feeling of renewal to well up from the deep, deep well that is you. Your thought feeling may be peace. It may be happiness. It may be quiet joy. Feel all the way to the place where you do not want this moment to end. The peace, joy, happiness inside of us is the ever-present gift that awaits our next visit. It is presence itself. I remind myself, come here often and drink deep. In this holy place, we know that we are love, we are loved, and that we are enough. And I declare, while I can't do everything I would like to do, what I can do is enough, and it is good. And so it is.
Just east of Eden, but there's heaven in our midst, and we're never really all that far from those we love and miss. Wade out in the water, there's a glory all around, and the wise say there's 1,000 ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Oh, let it go, my love, my truest, let it sail on silver wings. Twinkling, that's for certain, but it's such a fine thing. There's a gathering of spirits, there's a festival of friends, and we'll take up where we left off when we all meet again. And we'll take up where we left off when we all meet again. Welcome. Somewhere over the rainbow way, up high in the land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Richard and Matthew, for that beautiful song. I always need a minute to catch my breath. It's one of my very favorites that our Matthew has done more than once. Welcome, welcome. If that didn't say welcome, let me say welcome again. On this very green June Sunday, it's definitely my pleasure to welcome all of you here in our sanctuary and all of you who are joining us from afar, virtually today. We're so happy that you are with us. Those present can join me in giving thanks for this lush greenness of our surroundings that is definitely the gift of our blessed rainfall. I'm proud during this month we call Pride Month and celebrate here at Unity in Lynnwood to be a part of a community that values the worth and the dignity of every individual, of all people. We don't make exceptions. If you have experienced a deep sense of belonging before you arrived here, or if that is simply a dream you hold or have always held, please know it is our highest intention to offer that here. My recent thoughts have frequently been turning to community. And I've said many times before from this platform how much spiritual community has added to the quality of my life over many, many years. The last dozen years, it's been here at Unity in Lynnwood. Another major thought stream for me has been transitions. All the changes we've experienced and the unavoidable chaos that brings. This topic pops up in many conversations I find myself in these days. It seems I'm not alone. The turbulence of our times has thrown most people into some kind of reorganization or reevaluation, casually known as tailspin. I'm quoting Unity minister Robert Brummett, who has written on this topic. He wrote a book titled Transitions. This is a quote: "Transitions, while typically uncomfortable, offer tremendous opportunities to deepen one's sense of meaning and purpose. These can seem like difficult and dangerous times. They can also be times when we make very rapid progress in our spiritual growth." That's the end of his quote. And I'm wanting to connect these ideas of community and transition as I invite your participation in the process of Unity in Lynnwood's transformation. As we know, communities go through phases of renewal and transformation just as individuals do. It occurred to me that as we walk together and support one another through our individual transitions and readjustments to a shifting reality, we will automatically contribute to the positive and revitalizing transformation of this beloved community. It can be such a balm simply to say or to hear another say, "Yeah, my world feels a little upside down right now." We can have those kinds of conversations here, and we can walk the unstable ground together. Holding a hand while walking on shifting sands makes for much greater stability. And I've learned it's virtually possible to hold hands too on Zoom. I've done it a time or two. Charles Vogel is somewhat of an expert on community. He wrote a book called The Art of Community. Vogel has a Master's of Divinity from Yale University and draws on perennial wisdom of various spiritual traditions. And he writes, quote, "Social relationships, as we find in community, create in community, have a profound positive effect on our physical and mental health, our longevity, and our happiness or our general well-being," end of quote. Those of us who are able to connect and help others form meaningful connections through community will have a beneficial impact on the health and well-being of all parties involved, ourselves included. This sounds like quite a perfect answer to a nagging question of our times. What can I really do to make a positive difference? What we can do is strengthen community for ourselves and for one another, and then extend that to those who have not yet found their way here. This morning, another related thought appeared to me in a daily reading. We evolve by being involved. So again, welcome to Unity in Lynnwood. If you are new or newish, and I see quite a few faces that I don't have names for yet, which is wonderful, welcome, and I direct you back there to the Welcome and Information Station at the back of our room to get a little more oriented. There are also some cards in the back of the chair in front of you. And as I visited the Welcome and Information Station earlier this morning, I noticed that there are a lot of things there I had never seen. So if you have been here for years, you might want to swing by the Welcome and Information Station too. And now I would like to extend my welcome to Dr. Richard Held.
Linda Babin. Linda Babin. Good morning, Unity in Lynnwood. It is the honor of an incarnation to be in the nobility of your presence. You're quite a light. That's how I hold you. You are quite a light. How's that feel? I hope it feels good. If it does, consider allowing your eye to fall upon another and simply say, you're quite a light today. Try it with me. Ready, go. You're quite a light today. And then maybe another. You're quite a light today. Practical spirituality, welcoming community. That mission statement is so short in terms of its words, but so very deep in terms of its implications. And so it is that every week I like to support this with one of the values statements we developed in conversation with your board of trustees beginning in late 2014. Today I offer the fifth of 6. And it reads as follows: we actively seek and enthusiastically include truths from all great spiritual traditions. I'm proud of that. As such, you might not know this, but you are surrounded with Catholics and Buddhists and agnostics and atheists all together in great love. And I think, wow, what a model for a planet. Yeah. If you're a member of our online audience today, consider opening your chat window. Allow our online audience to say hi to you. Let us know your city of watching. Today's flowers are dedicated by Nancy Parle in honor of her late husband. Happy birthday, John Parle. And as always, the one who has generously donated and arranged those flowers is the most red-faced of all of us this morning. An opportunity to thank her, please, might be extended to Rosalie Bennett. Thank you for sharing your artistry, Rosalie. Words of invocation, allow them to engage you in the manner most suited to you this morning. You're welcome to read with me if you like. You're welcome to take them silently if you prefer. They read as follows: though imaged and named variously, there is a singular and eternal ground of being, from which all life emanates and into which all life retreats. We choose to call this ground of being God. By extension, we come to understand that we are spiritual in nature, human in expression, and limitless in potential. we gather today to remember such truths, to celebrate our unity, and to honor all life. And so it is. Reverend Nina Clark, it's fun to see you behind the camera this morning, a member of Unity in Lynnwood's most excellent crew, I might say. Now, when I was growing up, a tool was something you used to work in your garden. A tool was something that you used to work on your car, but no more. No more. It's not as simple as that. Today, a tool might be a word also used to refer to an ex who worked in your garden, or an ex who worked on your car. And when I was growing up, a hookup was something that happened by visiting the local telephone office. True story. Why, everybody knew that the first thing that you did for your new home was to go to the local AT&T office on Brown Avenue and politely ask the nice woman for a hookup. Preferably that same afternoon. Now, sometimes she could, and sometimes she couldn't. It seemed that everybody was willing to wait a day or two for a hookup. And there was always a line, but no more. It's also true that when I was growing up, gay was something that happened to pretty much everybody from time to time. It wasn't unusual at all for one to find himself exceptionally gay at the approach of a 3-day weekend, or the Christmas season, or the Super Bowl. Back in the day, a person might find himself spontaneously gay for no reason whatsoever. Why are you so gay today, Timmy? Well, I don't know. Just having a gay day. A lot of people even went to church to find that they left gayer than they arrived. But no more. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe, could happen. And when I was growing up, bad meant undesirable, and sick meant ill, and a thong. It was a fun little shoe you wore to the beach, but no more. And so it is with words. These are elusive, slippery, fluid things, and all religion is not immune to their ways. The word forgiveness, for example, joins ranks with the words love and the words prayer and even God as elusive, slippery words which have morphed over years and across continents and through minds to join us this morning. I like to think to be stripped of the veneers added by time, geography, humanity. After all, even Hollywood would have us believe that love is something of a reactive human emotion, that prayer is something of a cosmic shopping list, and that God is something of a sadist Santa hybrid who could benefit from the use of good mood stabilizers. And left unexamined, that same race consciousness would have us believe that to forgive is to condone hurtful behaviors. That same race consciousness would have us believe that to forgive is to pardon some lower soul from a self-appointed throne of sadistic righteousness That same race consciousness would have us believe that to forgive is to restore a relationship to its previous form. In other words, that same race consciousness would have us believe that to forgive is to adopt, to memorize, and to regurgitate a script that goes something like this. Well, what you did is okay. After all, you clearly didn't know better, so let's make up now. That script. But I don't really think this is what forgiveness meant to those who wrote the Judeo-Christian scriptures, and it's certainly not what it means to me. In fact, when we turn to the Aramaic mind as the context for this forgiveness idea, we don't find a mind that would have related to our modern translation of forgive your brother or forgive your enemy, forgive your failure. We don't find a mind that would have related to our modern translation of forgiveness as a relational, out there practice at all. We find a mind that would have understood something closer to forgive as to your brother. Forgive as to your enemy. Forgive as to your failure. We find a mind that would have understood forgiveness as a personal, in here, practice. Whatever you've got going on in here, as to that, forgive. Whatever you've got going on in here. That is the Aramaic mind. You see, your forgiveness work doesn't depend upon the presence of another in your life. Your forgiveness work doesn't depend upon an outer condition at all. The Aramaic concept of forgiveness would have been understood as a process by which one navigates, elevates, even purifies the states of one's own mind. It's not about getting your outer world in order. It's about getting your inner world in order. It's not about changing them. It is about changing you. And the Aramaic practice of forgiveness would have been understood not as a practice by which one condones, not as a practice by which one pardons, not as a practice by which one restores, but a practice by which one, are you ready? By which one unties. A practice by which one unties. It strikes me as a very Eastern mind. It's not unlike the Hindu mind or the Taoist mind or the Buddhist mind. Our spiritual work isn't accomplished by attaching, but by releasing. It's counterintuitive, really. If we have an issue, we tend to think we have to get something. We have to accumulate something. We have to acquire something. We tend to think we have to learn something, when in fact, what we've learned is often a part of the problem. Forgiveness says that you have to untie. It seems to me that matters of spiritual progress are often less about addition and more about subtraction. I might say that there's something eternal within you. There's something fundamental about you. There's something expansive within you that's absolutely amazing. Matters of spiritual progress are often about uncovering that something eternal. It's about revealing that something fundamental. It's about freeing that something expansive. It's in the gospel that is titled Luke. Understand that these are functionally anonymous writings that were assigned titles. It's in the gospel account titled Luke that a teaching recounted a paralyzed man lowered through the roof of a crowded home where Jesus was teaching. And famously, the rabbi started by saying, your friend, your sins, they're done. They are forgiven. Well, who can forgive but God, came the question, to which he responded, the Son of Man can forgive. And then he said to the paralyzed man, get on up now, go on. And the man got up and went. And the people are reported to have responded by saying, man, we have seen some stuff today. We have seen some stuff today. So when presented with a paralyzed man, and let me encourage you to read into the idea of the paralyzed man. Take it in. Make it personal. Ask what it could mean to you, metaphysically speaking, to be paralyzed. When presented with a paralyzed man, Jesus introduced a theme that would saturate the entirety of his work. And that theme goes something like this. If you would birth into a new way of being, you must die from an old way of being. And when we reflect upon the writer's story, where does this happen? It happens in us. And when we reflect upon the writer's story, who has the authority to do it? We do. It's not that Santa God who holds us to our old ways of being. We hold ourselves to our old ways of being. And it's not that sadist God who declares and decides when we will die to our old ways of being. It is we who declare and decide when we will die to our old ways of being. God is never the limitation we experience. God is better considered the potential that calls us forth. If you would birth into a new way of being, you must die to an old way of being. There were two monks, as the fable goes. There were two traveling monks who found themselves approaching a city corner following a rainstorm. Our tale could be set in Seattle in spring of, 2022. It was two traveling monks who found themselves approaching a city corner following a rainstorm where they encountered an impatient, even angry young shopper. Now, her name, of course, is not recorded. It's unimportant. I mean, for the sake of our story, let's make up a name. Let's call her Karen. Let's say that Karen's assistants were so busy juggling and arranging her many packages that they were unavailable to help her navigate some pretty deep puddles, at which point the older of the two monks offered to help. Hoisting Karen onto his back, the older of the two monks carried her through those pretty deep puddles to the other corner that she might continue shopping, and continue shopping she did, not by waiting for her overburdened assistance, not by thanking her anonymous helper, but by shoving an aging monk from her path. So it was that after a few more hours of traveling, the younger monk could hold his tongue no longer. You helped that selfish shopper, he blurted out, and all you got for your kindness was a shove. Well, this stopped the older monk in his tracks. He was bewildered by this question, and he said, I stopped carrying that woman hours ago. Why are you still carrying her? This speaks to chapter 4 of the book I've been reading. It's entitled, What Are You? It's by the great theologian Amelia Zaborac. It speaks to chapter 4 because she asserts that there is that of us which is temporary, and there is that of us which is eternal. And that we tend to get fixated on that which is temporary. We tend to get fixated on that limited realm of the senses. And that realm is fine enough for what it is, but it's incomplete at best. We tend to get fixated on experiences and fears, no show of hands, please, and projections and opinions and circumstances, conditions, appearances, and more. We tend to get so fixated on our remembered pasts. We tend to get so fixated on our imagined futures, both of which are temporary, that we miss the experience of life. Life, which is of itself present in every moment. Life, which is of itself eternal. We tend to go so fixated on that which is temporary that we keep ourselves in a continual state of spiritual amnesia. And one remedy for this, she would say, is forgiveness. Forgiveness. Now, in thinking about our paralyzed man teaching story, it's forgiveness that requires us to ask, might I be tied to something that would deny me a state of greater wholeness? Higher consciousness, then, in the form of Jesus, says, let's start with that. And in thinking about our traveling monks teaching story, it's forgiveness that requires us to ask, might I be carrying something that would deny me a state of greater love? And it's higher consciousness in the form of our elder monk who says, let's start with that. And when we ask, might I be tied to something that would deny me a state of greater wholeness, it's common to think about our resentments, to think about our regrets. And when we ask, might I be carrying something that would deny me a state of greater love, it's common to think about our mistakes. It's common to think about our betrayals, but here is the challenge for today. You might want to hold on to that chair. Here's the challenge for today. Have you ever stopped to consider that it might be your greatest triumphs that keep you stuck? Have you ever stopped to consider that it might be your grandest achievements or your exalted status or your glory days that keep you stuck? Because you see, the forgiveness of the Aramaic mind makes no distinction between our so-called good experiences and our so-called bad experiences. The forgiveness of the Aramaic mind speaks only to our attachments. Said another way, the forgiveness of the Aramaic mind speaks only to your availability to be lived and to live forth. So, while your availability to be lived calls you to find a way to untie from an unpleasant past, your availability to live forth calls you to find a way to release your story about that last-second Hail Mary catch you made in 1978, too. And besides, you deserve to hear it here first. Everyone is tired of hearing that story anyway. And there are better stories waiting to be told through you. This is why I've said so many times that the enemy of our growth isn't our most difficult moments. The enemy of our growth is our most mediocre moments. Our most difficult times press us, if only symbolically, to our knees where we can become available to higher ways of being. Our most mediocre times, those tend to keep us in a pedestrian purgatory, suspended just above enough pain to change, but just below enough courage to truly live. In this sense, while it might be hard to forgive as to the difficult, it's even harder to forgive as to the mediocre. I have to believe this is why the great theologian Jack Boland said, friends, do not let your good stand in the way of your better. Untie. You can try that with me if you want. Untie. Release. That's forgiveness to the Aramaic mind. In our trials, untie. But in our triumphs, release. That's the problem with translating Semitic languages. These are highly creative and intuitive languages whose words assume any number of meanings drawn from their contexts. A translation, for example, by a patriarchal mind tends to be patriarchal. A translation by a fearful mind tends to be fearful. This is how that most famous of prayers that likely began, O infinite womb of the cosmos, source of all that moves in light, came to you, translated as our Father. Someone mentioned this, and I have to say I do not disagree. Someone mentioned this. Someone suggested that it's time for forgiveness at Unity in Lynnwood. Someone suggested that it's time to refresh our availability to be lived and to live forth. The creativity which has led us to this noble moment is no less available than it ever was. And our job is to make ourselves available to it. And where we might fail to make ourselves available through disappointments or disagreements, new life requires us to untie. And where we might fail to make ourselves available through nostalgia or history, new life requires us to release. It's forgiveness that requires us to return ourselves into the full flow of that limitless creative field that we call God, that it can truly use us for something beautiful. For in the same way that there are better stories waiting to be told through you as an individual, there are better stories waiting to be told through us as a community too.
We at Unity in Lynnwood tend to believe that we have it backward. Spiritual ideas are often backward, it seems. We tend to believe that friendship isn't so much where progress ends as it's how progress begins. Said another way, we tend to believe that those who work for greater harmony among the peoples of planet Earth must start by cultivating greater harmony among the individuals of planet Earth. We tend to believe that your second grade teacher had it right when they encouraged you to play with a newcomer, to sit with a stranger, to make a new friend, you see. Your second grade teacher somehow knew that human connection and basic belonging were absolutely foundational to the unfoldment of your highest potentials. Teachers are amazing that way. It's in keeping with such a belief that Soul Greens, an ecologically mindful vegetarian restaurant in the tradition of Unity's roots, joins existing programming such as Dinner with Others, an artist's hallway, and a Last Friday's summer speaker series, and Interfaith at UIL, and UIL's countless faith partnerships as yet another vehicle for putting first things first, as yet another vehicle for cultivating greater harmony among the individuals of planet Earth, as yet another vehicle for human connection and basic belonging, but over really good food. To date, the UIL community has raised about $50,000 in support of this vision. So yeah, the people of Unity and Lynnwood believe in Soul Greens because the people of Unity and Lynnwood have seen the healing power of human connection and basic belonging. So yeah, our people can tell you some stories, but our people think there are still more stories to be told. And while each story is different, they all seem to end the same way, with a softer human and a gentler humanity. We like that. Thank you for your support.
The renewal of a vision that has been unfolding for the last couple years. Special thanks to your crew, to Nathan in particular, who assembled that lovely piece. It was this past week that Unity and Lynnwood stood forth as one of 3 selected to present, one of 3 finalists, and it was shortly thereafter that we were awarded a grant in support of this idea of an additional $25,000. And it's been announced on social media that Celtic tenor and Glee superstar Damien McGinty has chosen Unity and Lynnwood as the venue for his Seattle Living in the Moment, I think that's the title of it, Live in the Moment tour this fall. So we can celebrate that. If you are a Damien McGinty fan, by all means, get your tickets. They will sell quickly. All this to say, I think we stand at a crossroads. The world out there seems to look at you and say, live forth. The world out there seems to say, live from that level of high potentiality. The world out there seems to think you at a choice point, Unity and Lynnwood. And I have to believe in my heart of hearts, the world out there says, let's forgive. Let's come together and let us step forth. That's what I think the world is saying. And I thought you deserved to know that. Take a deep breath with me, won't you? Let's close with a short time of consideration, a time of reflection, a time of introspection. Some people call it meditation. It matters not. It will last 3 minutes, maybe 4. And let's just take a deep breath. If you're comfortable closing your outer eyes, I promise nothing will happen. Forgiveness, untying, becoming available to that infinite evolutionary flow that we simply choose to call God. And we allow the question to rise. Where there might be something difficult, something to which I have an attachment. Is it time to untie? even where there might be that I cherish, something that perhaps has served as an identity even. Something to which I know I am deeply attached. Am I ready to put it down? Asking in a new way, is there that? In which I recognize an attachment? Is there that which is temporary, to which I have energetically tethered, regardless of its character or its quality? And is it time to forgive?
May it be an evening star shines down upon you. May it be when darkness falls, your heart will be true. You walk a lonely road. Oh, how far you are from home. Oh,
Thank you for so much. Those parting words, a promise lives within you now. Lovely, thank you. During these moments, we stop for just a bit, pause, and focus on the unity spiritual practice of giving. During these moments, we invite and welcome your financial gifts in support of this Unity in Lynnwood community. Prosperity is one of Unity's foundational principles. While I'm speaking, you'll see the mechanisms, the methods for donating on the screen behind me. I want to share from yesterday's daily word reading, a little book of affirmations and inspirations that Unity publishes. They're short and pithy and uplifting. And this one happened to be on prosperity. I thought it was lovely. Prosperity is a wonderfully potent word, bringing to mind great wealth and power. Yet I know true prosperity is not to be measured in money or possessions alone. Prosperity is about quality, not quantity. When I look at all the good in my life, I realize prosperity is already mine. I am prospered by loving friends and family. Spiritual enrichment flows to me during prayer and meditation. My mind is open and ready to accept even greater good. Today, I claim prosperity with gratitude and a positive expectancy. I declare my willingness to receive all good things from an abundant world. I affirm, I am grateful for my faith-filled, prosperous life. If you would like information about Unity in Lynnwood's program for regular giving called our Givers Circle, please contact Reverend Nina directly, or for information about planned giving or legacy giving, please write Dr. Richard directly. And I again direct your attention back to the welcome and information station. There's something there called a giving card that talks about various facets of giving and ways to think about it. Giving as prayer, giving as investment, giving as a vote, giving as practice, I mentioned. And I want to just mention giving as an energy. It's an energy we put into the world. So remember to always give with love. The universe is often clever and mysterious in its ability to give to us in return. We must be watchful.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen.
Finally, I have a few invitations. I want to let you know about some activities that are going on in our community. And always, you can register for any of them on our webpage at unityinlynnwood.org. Clicking on the calendar page takes you right to where, and clicking on the event then takes you to where you need to go to register. The Good Grief Group is still continuing. Facilitators Barbara Thorpe, our licensed Unity teacher and leader of our prayer ministry, and Marge Hampton and Nancy Parle, two of our prayer chaplains, are facilitating. These 90-minute confidential gatherings discuss the many faces of grief and explore our processes for moving through. Please consider securing your copy of Loving and Living Your Way Through Grief, which is a book that accompanies, but it's certainly not mandatory. All are welcome still. It's meeting on the second and fourth Thursdays as detailed on the screen. Summer Bunko Bingo Potluck is happening on Saturday, June 25th at 11 a.m. Start the summer off right with an afternoon of fun and food with Unity in Lynnwood friends. Play Bunko and bring your favorite potluck dish to share. Third Act Group Luncheon is happening on Friday, excuse me, June 24th at 1 p.m. The Third Act Small Group invites those of you who are 60 or greater, I like that way of putting things, to bring your own lunch. Erlene Bowen and Miriam Williams are looking forward to welcoming newcomers and reconnecting with those who have enjoyed these gatherings in the past. And on July 1st, little drum roll here, Stone Soup Concert, starting at 6 p.m., the Stone Soup Concert, a fundraising event featuring Matthew Wilson, Steve Mason, Don Macon, Jerome Johnson, flying in to us from Kansas. Virtual. Well, I've heard him in person. I will be thrilled to hear him virtually. I noticed there's a missing name, though. There's not going to be any piano playing at this event. Is that right?
It's a surprise.
Yeah, well. I have a hunch. I know the name that was missing. And Ken Urey will be hosting it. As I heard Ken say last week, he's very excited for the event, and I am as well. Join friends and I suggest you invite friends. I've done a little inviting of friends. This is going to be a fun evening, and whether people attend Unity in Lynnwood regularly or not, I think they would have a very good time. All proceeds will benefit the general operating fund of Unity in Lynnwood. All are welcome. There is a $20 registration required.
Linda Babin, what a pleasure. If you are new or newer to Unity in Lynnwood, perhaps you've noticed that the chair back before you is brimming with support for you. Please avail yourself to that. If this, I'm going to tell you something unusual. If this is a community that you feel would support you at this particular time in your incarnation, we will provide every avenue for the level of involvement you choose. If, at the same time, if you are seeking, and this is not a community that would prove supportive to where you are, we will help you find one that is. Our commitment is to supporting you on your spiritual journey. Always, we delight when it's here, but our commitment is to support you nonetheless. Use us. We are here for you. Is that Nina Clark? Here, I can help. No, it's sorry. You know what? I am so going to hear about this on Tuesday. Oh, my goodness. I am so grateful for your presence. We do serve coffee, and there is a celebratory Soul Greens cake in Friendship Hall. Please exit the double doors if you so choose. Cross through the next double doors and allow our welcome teams to take excellent care of you. I don't know if it matters to you, the cake is from Costco. For me, that is like the top of the top. I don't know what kind of sorcerers they have working behind those ovens, but let me tell you, Costco people can cook. It's a thing. It is a thing. Please join us if you so like. Take a deep breath. Let's close as we opened. With that technology we call prayer. It doesn't matter what you call it. It doesn't matter what you call it. I often refer to prayer as a time of intentional elevating. The issue with prayer, such as it's traditionally understood and practiced, is that we elevate and then we throw it away and we go back to being our petty, low self-esteem selves. The trick with prayer is to elevate and then to carry that into the world. to elevate into that which is eternal, if you will, and then to carry that into the world. So let's do that. Let us close by deciding that if God is wisdom, then surely wisdom is at hand. Let's decide that if God is that sufficiency to all things necessary for the unfoldment of a truly holy work, then let's decide that sufficiency must be at hand. If God is life, then let us decide that life must be at hand. And in entertaining such an elevation, if gratitude is your response, allow that to be so. Allow that to be so. And let us carry that gratitude back into our earthly world. So as we consider reopening these sensory eyes of ours, let us do so gently. Let us allow that higher knowing to pour forth through us. And let's close our time together as we always do with sung words of blessing, with sung words of farewell.
May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure